My name's Ken Ehrlich. I'm the executive producer of the Grammys, and this year, thank you.
We might ask Pharrell and Nile, tell us about the number with Daft Punk and working with Stevie Wonder, how that came together, how you brought the songs together and make it all fit.
Where do you want to start? It was a huge undertaking because what happened, I'm not sure if any of you remember, but Stevie had taken sick, and it was very severe incident. So when we were putting together the number, we weren't quite sure if he would be around. So we were like trying to figure out, well, what songs would go in the medley, how it would all come together. And I was exceptionally busy. Pharrell was busy. It was this crazy thing, but somehow the love and the dedication somehow made it work. We just pulled it together at the last minute, and we finally hit the stage. It's funny, when we were still rehearsing, like I'm tripping over Pharrell, and I'm going, yo, man, what do we do? He said, come over here. We moved to Stevie at this point, and take it from there, man. You
Well, that's exactly right. First of all, thanks for having us here today.
Yeah.
Second, you know, the legend that just spoke is completely, he's right. It was, you know, they call them the robots for a reason. And everything is methodical, everything is spelled out to the letter, to the very second. And as he said, Stevie wasn't feeling well at the moment, and we weren't sure what was gonna happen, so we eventually started rehearsing something completely different. And then all of a sudden he could make it, so it was like, okay, now we have to go back and relearn the original arrangement. And so he's right, there was a moment where the things that you feel like would have been worked out, there's a moment where right before we go on stage, it's kind of like, okay, look, we're gonna go over here right after the third bar, blah, 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 blah. I mean, you know, it's not exactly what we're saying, but there was a moment where like, it just, we knew that Stevie was gonna be okay because we put so much dedication into the rehearsal and so much diligence went into it because it's, you know, it's the Grammys. You know, it's like you, as a musician, you dream of being on stage with people like that. So it's like, there's no way this is not gonna work out. And of course, right before the show, we get the word that Stevie was fine and he was gonna do the show. And it was, for me, it was an amazing, amazing experience because I was on there I was surrounded by legends. And you know what? You'll only get that at the Grammys.
Yeah. I'd just like to add a little bit on that. When we first met with the Daft Punk guys, they had done the show, the only other television show, I think, maybe one or two others that they had ever done, was the Grammy show with Kanye 7 years ago. And I didn't know they had a good time because I couldn't really see their faces. But apparently they had a good time. We got a call basically saying they wanted to come back. And of course we wanted, it was true. So their dream was to be with Stevie. You know, you guys knew that.
Yeah.
But Stevie wasn't available for the album. He wasn't available.
Yeah.
He was, so they said to us, do you think that you could get Steve for us for this? And we said, you know, yeah, I think we could. Steve's a friend. He's certainly been with us before. So when that happened, that kind of crystallized it, because at that point, they weren't so sure they wanted to do it. They loved these guys. They loved what these guys did. But, you know, I don't know, you probably haven't seen Daft Punk on too many other shows. So,
In fact, none at all.
None at all.
None, yeah.
So they agreed.
They only agreed to do this one show.
Yeah. So anyway, so this drama that played out that we kept very quiet the whole week of the show was truly a drama, and it's a tribute to the two guys as well as to these two guys, because the two of them had a tremendous amount of input into the album in terms of producing it and laying it out and being an integral part of it. And we watched from the sidelines, honestly, as this thing changed up and down. Stevie's health was never in serious question, I want to make that clear, but there were some issues. And you know, it was not, we weren't sure whether he was going to make it or not. At one point, we were told he wasn't going to make it. And he was not in town, and he was in town, then he was not in town. And I know that he didn't come back to Los Angeles until Friday afternoon. The show's Sunday. They had been rehearsing, they had laid it out. My friend Pharell, I think, and I think the two of them basically laid out, they did an amazing job. I want to spend a second on this. They laid out a modular medley that worked with Steve or without Steve.
And without, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's, by the way, I don't know if any of you are musicians, that ain't easy to do. It either is or it isn't. But they did it. And when Friday came around, and I think you got him Friday night, you didn't even get him during the day. And then our rehearsal, the only rehearsal we had with them other than the dress was on Saturday. Steve, of course, rolled in like nothing happened. He's there to have a good time. And that's the way it should be.
Where do I sit?
That's the way it should be. And it was amazing. And the first time they went, we did go through it 3 or 4 times because it did need to, it wasn't ready. You know, it wasn't soup on Friday night.
Right.
But by Saturday afternoon it was. And on Sunday, at the dress, it was brilliant. And then Sunday night, it was just like out of this world. And it's really because, you know, it's a tribute to all the musicians. I mean, Nathan, you know, there were people on that stage. These are guys that you want to be with you when you have this kind of thing happen. And they were. So I just, honestly, I would give these guys a round of applause for what they did.
And I just have to say that I was struck with all that run-up and the drama that was going on as, you know, would Stevie be there, wouldn't he, what's going to happen? I was struck by, there was just a whole lot of smiling going on during the performance itself, so it seemed like you guys were having a good time.
We did.
It was amazing.
You know.
No, it was amazing. It was amazing. We had the time of our lives. The thing is that I love this guy. He's you know, everything that's going on for him right now, he totally deserves. And what's incredible to me is that I could see the sheer joy on his face when I walked on that stage and we're standing there and it's Stevie Wonder and Nathan and Omar Hakim. I mean, it was just such a great vibe on that stage. The love in the room, no matter what was going to go wrong, we were going to get through that number, and it was going to be special to us, and it'd be something that I'll remember and cherish the rest of my life. It was great. Let's move on. I don't want to start crying up here.
Say it, you know, that the Get Lucky performance on the night of that show was fair, 30%, 40% different than it was the day before.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes,
I mean, there were solos popping up from Stevie that weren't even in his head the day before.
Yeah.
And these guys did it when, you know, when that, well, I shouldn't say you have no idea. You have a great idea. You have no idea the barriers that were broken. That Get Lucky is not just a song. Get Lucky is anthemic, and it's a non-traditional song. It's a song that follows no form. It's not bridge, you know, it's not verse, chorus, bridge, it out. It's just not, you know. They broke the form with this song, and he's done it before. He did it with the Neptunes, you know.
Look, as much as I will never forget being on stage with this man, ever. Like, Nile Rodgers is like, I mean, can you imagine that this man is still making chart-topping music? This is Nile Rodgers. So I will never, ever forget that night. I was surrounded by legends. Surrounded by legends. So I never watched my performances, by the way. But I'm told that you could see it in my face that I was surrounded by the legends, and that, you know, there were moments where I was just kind of like, you know. But that's what happens to you, man. It's, come on, dude. It's like Paul Jackson, you know, Stevie Wonder, Omar Hakim, Chris Caswell. Do you guys know who Chris Caswell is? Okay, so you know the Muppets? You know the guy that's playing, the guy that's playing on the Muppets?
No, it's not Animal. Yeah, I know, yeah.
The guy that's playing on the Muppets that plays the piano, and he's like, Jim Henson got that from him.
Yeah,
Now, that's not a big deal to you guys, but you have got to hear Chris Caswell play. You have got to hear it. Just when you leave here, just Google him. And you'll understand. I was surrounded by guys who have been doing it for decades and who still show up and love it just as much as they first started playing. So you're asking me, you know, what did that feel like? I still can't believe that I was lucky enough. I would have just held the microphone for Stevie. You know, I damn near did that.
You did
You did do it.
When he had the harmonica, you did
I
do
was
it.
like,
He was holding my.
you know, they were like, you know, Stevie wants you to walk him upstage. Of course. What am I gonna say? Are you asking me, or was that a rhetorical question? Or was that a directive? Of course. Like, it was. I don't know how. Listen, you're surrounded by legendary musicians who live it and know more. They know much more about other things, and you know, I just know music. But these guys are like just prolific. You know, and excuse my language if this offends anyone, but like you know, you're just watching deities walk past. You know, people that you've looked up to all your life, and that's how it felt.
Thank you.